everything. Okay? Fellow heirs of Jesus. If, and there's that little two-letter word that we have problems with sometimes. If indeed what? If indeed we suffer with him, so that we may also be glorified with him. Now those are just words. You know, they don't mean a lot. It sounds good and bad. You know, suffering, no. Glory, yes. But this is God's intention. This is part of the package of living this life out on earth, to work things in us and prepare us to reign forever. So it says if we suffer, he said, I consider that the sufferings of this present time, that is this lifetime, are not worthy, even worthy to be compared with the glory that will be revealed to us. Now the writer of Romans is saying this. Paul is saying this in Romans. He says it in several other epistles. He caught this vision that whatever we go through here for Christ's sake is going to be much more worth it later on. That which is reserved in heaven for us. Now there are blessings for here, but nothing compared to there. And I'm not talking about just sitting around having nothing to do either. I'm talking about being with God forever and reigning with him. Jesus even said in Matthew, you know, Matthew, he says, seek now. But he's getting this, he's teaching us, you know, that you may be rewarded later. Seek now, live now, and one day. And he says, if you want all your stuff now, you can have it. But then you will lose it then. So make a choice. Do you want him now and then him forever? Do you want all your stuff and have it your way now and then lose the rewards later? He said it's our choice. I'll preach on that one day. Now, we need to see these as facts. It's truth. Especially during suffering times, it's more than worth it and it's more than necessary. He's after something besides our comfort and our happiness in this world. And we've attached ourselves so much to the world that when he tries to break us from that, we think something's terrible's going on and God doesn't love us anymore. I don't want to avoid this suffering if it's going to cost me eternal glory. And you need to ask yourself that too. Suffering here is one of those, it's a union word. It's an in-process word in the Greek. It means it's something that's jointly experienced. Usually it's a sensation and usually it's painful. But it's joint. Joint with who? Joint with Christ. See, he's still in you. You're sharing in his sufferings as the world rejects you or as you deny yourself. See, that's the kind of sufferings he's really talking about here. If you want to reign with him, you got to suffer. He says that. You will reign, you will inherit if you suffer with me. He's not talking about sickness and disease here. I don't believe that. Well, I don't. What if he does allow you to go through that, though? Then it still will work eternal weight in you, depending upon your trust in him and your what? Your obedience, your yielded heart. It may be that. But what he's usually talking about here is resisting, fighting the good fight of faith against the world, the flesh, and the devil. And that's more than we can handle by ourselves, and it's called suffering. You are actually letting the kingdom of God be birthed in you and grow in you as you resist in the power of the Spirit. That's why I keep going back to that. You can't put to death the deeds of the old man except by the power of the Spirit. So all of this is it's a daily thing to resist the devil, to submit to God. And yes, we may lose things. You know, we may have to give up things that we really, really wanted. But he said, choose me first, and all the other things will be added to you. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, one little thing I wanted you to mention a while ago, it says here that we are born as children of God. Now, you don't need to remember the Greek words, but it says we are born children. The Greek word there is teknon, I believe. It means you're actually born. I mean, you've been birthed. You've come into something. But back here where it says they that are led by the Spirit or sons of God, that is the Greek word weos. And the difference being one is just born as a child, the other one has matured into a son. See there? And I was not taught this in my early days, and I wish I had been. It took me years to start seeing this, that there's a difference in just being a child and being a son. That we all called to be sons of God. You ladies also, because we're not talking about the body, we're talking about the spirit. That's why a man can be part of the bride of Christ. That's why a woman can be a son of God. Why? Because there's neither male nor female in the spirit. God is not the father of our bodies. My name is Danny Smith. I was born in the old West Point Hospital. My mother was Margaret Smith. My daddy was Gordon or Buck Smith. See, he's my natural daddy of this life. God caused me to be born again by the Spirit. So this is what he's talking about here. He gave me power to do this. Now, John 1:12 actually says that to as many as received him and believed in him and trusted in him, he gave the power or the authority or even the right or privilege to become sons of God. You got to be born from above first and then grow into maturity. And I think this has been one of the things the church has missed over the years, including myself, that there are promises, there are privileges, there is authority that belongs to the Son of God that a little baby can't handle. And if we don't grow, if we never walk in the things of the Spirit, if we don't feed on the Word, if we don't submit to the process, we'll still baby. I know people who've been saved 40 years and they're still babies. And I know some been saved 5 years and they're already sons. How did this happen? Lordship, discipleship, doing what the Word says. It's not that he's a respecter of persons, but he looks at the heart. Do you have the heart of a disciple? And I hope and pray that you do. Then you will grow into this. So a lot of people, a lot of times it's just like little babies crying out for daddy, give me this, and daddy, give me that, and why I want this, and take this away, and I don't like that pain, and change my diaper, when that's just nothing but symbols of childhood. Instead of mature saints who are able to go with the flow.